what is it that we're going to accomplish by being really, really, really good at surveilling everybody, eavesdropping on them, killing them, socially and economically engineering them? Are we trying to start something? Are we trying to be the targets? Are the elite, the rich, the protected, the influential in government, are they really looking to protect themselves? Was the Patriot Act to protect the American people from terrorists, or the government from the American people? So these are the things that need to be brought up. These are the things that, should be talked about. I was in Kansas last weekend, not this last weekend, the weekend before like 8-9 days ago. And we were doing the debate, and it was the first time that Wayne and I actually just went head-to-head in an actual questions by the audience debate. And one thing that was very interesting is I guess he felt he needed to say this. He got up, and he looked at me, and he said, I hear that I want you to answer this, Ernie, that, you're a 9/11 truther. And he goes on the audience, he says, if Ernest is elected LNC chairman, the Libertarian National Committee of the Libertarian Party, if he's elected chairman, he'll talk about 9/11. And I'm thinking, I'm going, well, I'm sure as heck not going to avoid it. I mean, I'm not sure I'll be wearing it as a lapel pin, but I mean, 9/11 was the beginning of the Patriot Act. It was the beginning of, all of this surveillance and rights restrictions and free speech zones and rendition and military expansion and debt. And I mean, but we're not allowed to talk about any of that, or what started it, or where. I mean, seriously? So what you're saying is you're not? Annie, absolutely not. No, heck no. We're not going to challenge the state that way. So, I'm dumbfounded. I'm okay. This makes this easier. So what am I going to do? When we come back, we'll talk about it a little bit. I encourage you to call in. I'd like to get your perspective on this, because I'm going to cause a ruckus. They threw the gauntlet down, and it's time to do it. Well, I think that we should. It's not off limits. I mean, he's saying no. I mean, he actually comes out and says, "Heck, no, I'm not having anything to do with it. I don't want to talk about it." Heck, no. And I'm going, okay. I found that interesting. I mean, it was very, very interesting that he would take such an adamant position, especially to a group of libertarians. I'm like, who is he taking his direction from? Who really wants him in that position to do what? I mean, is it the number one job? Don't question anything about what the government has done in regards to 9/11 and legislation and actions and stuff since then. And I found that so telling that do I make this the center of my thing? I mean, that wasn't really it. If I'm going to send something out, I want everybody to know what it is that he will not talk about. I'm going, I don't think you guys really know. So I'm going to go, here's a DVD on, we'll decide whatever it is now. I'll pick one. But, something, it'll be controversial. It'll be, wow, these young kids, these revolutionaries, these people that have been the energy that you've been seeking all this time, they're not going to come over to the Libertarian Party if you're making these kinds of statements. It's not going to happen. So I'm like, okay, well, so let's see what he does not want to talk about. So I don't have a problem bringing that up. I'd like to talk about a lot of other things, but if he's going to come out and give me an easy one and say, I'm never going to talk about anything about 9/11, I'm going, okay, well, I will. I mean, is that what this is going to be about? It's going to be about challenging, the worst thing that they've ever done in the name of. Wow. I mean, why would you think somebody in his position would say that? Who's he pandering to?
I don't have any idea how in the world Wayne Allen Root ended up in the Libertarian Party.
Because he can. I mean, because we're, not organized. Anybody that's about organization, man, they can get in and get a seat at the table, because libertarians are not. They're like out being free and active and doing whatever. I don't need a shiny badge. They don't care. The only reason I'm doing this is defending those that just want to be left alone to go be libertarians, and trying to save the definition of the word so that they don't take another freedom word from us. My first inclination was to encourage a lot of the evolutionaries, these young people, to go and let's go, kick butt and have fun. But then it got to be quickly, I could see, I would go to each of these groups. Let's say there's 100 people at various conventions in these small states, and I'll go in and I'll say, all right, how many of you have been a libertarian for more than 5 years? Now, I'm wanting since, the last presidential election cycle, one in 2004. So I'm like, how many of you have been around, more than just a couple of years? And it's like 80% of them are new libertarians. And there's a revolving door that happens. You have all the real activist libertarians that came in the party looking to challenge the state, looking to go up. There were people that were abused by regulatory committees and taxes and the drug war. And they are mad. They're angry. The whole reason why they come to seek help from the Libertarian Party, or at least a kindred with other people that think like they do, was because they're mad at the government for something stupid that they did. And when you get there and they go, oh, no, we don't want to make them mad. we want, our turn at the lever. We want to get the ring of power. They're like, no, I'm good. I'm going somewhere else. Well, they go out and they work for other libertarian organizations or causes or whatever. So as time has gone on, it's become obvious to me that there's more libertarians outside the Libertarian Party than there is inside, and they're far more radicalized. They're much more down, and by my definition, when you say radical, what that really means is at the root. They get to the base of what the problem is. I'm a radical person for fill in the blank. Well, I'm striking the root. That's what strike the root means, is to be radical. So I'm going, these people are much more striking at the root of whatever the problem is, and aren't distracted by the shiny objects thrown out by Fox News. So this is very important that I represent all of those people, which are the best of the people that really understand philosophically what's happening and what the future was and where their efforts are best directed. So I'm going, look, this is what I want to accomplish. When we go to St. Louis, there's going to be a vote. But anything that I do, I don't do anything unless I already know I won before I started. What do I want to accomplish? I want the decision to be clear. Did libertarians in convention select to join the revolution and challenge the state, or they just want a place at the table? That's what Wayne's clearly advocating. That's what makes it so much easier to do this, because he's clearly advocating that. I will get on Fox News a lot. I will be the face of. I will make sure we get attention. I will bring in the money. We can't be too controversial. We got to be moderate. We got to appeal to the Tea Party. We got to appeal to the soccer moms. We got to appeal to the conservative Republicans that are mad at the Republican Party. We got to not be libertarian. I'm going to be controversial. And what I plan on, I'm not even sure exactly what I'm going to be sending to all of the national delegates to the Libertarian Party convention in St. Louis at the end of May during Memorial Weekend. But it's not going to be unnoticed. And I'm not really sure what to send, because there's so much information and there's only so much I can do. But I'm leaning towards, Invisible Empire. And Jason Burmis, he's a young man in his 20s. The perspective he has, he's like, wow, does anybody know this stuff? I mean, nobody's taught. Why aren't they talking about this? Who's challenging this? Where's this? And I'm going, you know what? I'll support you. You did the effort. I think you did a good job. I'll put it in there. And tell the people, look, man, if you don't know this stuff, you're just begging to be a slave. So that's where we're going. I'm going to go ahead and will it, could I play more politics? Could I be a little more mainstream? Could I be a little bit more, non-confrontational and controversial? Yeah, easily. It's pretty easy to do that. But I tell you what's difficult. It is very difficult to be able to just tell the truth. A lot of times it is. I mean, for me, it's easier than most, but, you know, we're at a weird time when telling the truth is an act of treason.